Hello guys, never have I thought that on this channel dedicated to the Russian war in Ukraine, the resilience of Ukrainian people, the evil objects demilitarized inside the Russian Federation, we will also speak about this extremely destructive desire, attraction that the American president feels for Vladimir Putin. Right now, it is 100% obvious that what Trump feels to Vladimir Putin cannot be described in the political terms or the terms of diplomacy or even business or mafia, if you prefer. That is pure desire. Pure desire to receive compliments from the bloody Kremlin war criminal, to speak to him and potentially meet. Yesterday, after a 2-hour telephone call, the American president reports to the world, no, not the dates when a potential ceasefire can start, but he retells the compliments and congratulations that the bloody Putin gave to him, that he congratulated Trump with a grandchild, that he also complimented Melania, and Trump asked Putin if that war criminal responsible for the deaths of thousands of innocent people, if that war criminal respected Trump that much as he respects Melania. And now the greatest dream of the American president is to once see and speak to Putin in person. That is so obvious, same as the humiliation that the Kremlin demonstrates, no, not to the people of Ukraine or the people of the European Union, but the White House negotiators, when they constantly deny everything that Trump offers and Trump pretends that everything is okay. These are very, very toxic relations, and let's talk about them and what they mean for the future of Ukraine, the United States, Europe, the world, China, and even Martians. My name is Anna, I'm from Ukraine, I'm in Ukraine, and if you want to see the defeat and demilitarization of Russia, the only working peace plan, subscribe, we will discuss that on the channel sometime soon. I'm sorry I had to turn on this sarcastic Anna regime because that's the only way to watch and think about the words of Trump in reaction to Putin's humiliation. I watched a great Ukrainian YouTuber, intellectual, Vitaly Portnikov, who actually compared that telephone call to a telephone call between, this Romeo and Juliet. And once again, old KGB agent Putin knows how to trick Trump so that Trump cannot even hide his desires and his attractions. This is a humiliation for the whole world. So first of all, they spoke for 2 hours, and everyone sane on this planet was expecting something serious. From the very beginning of his new term, Trump spoke about the need to end this war, and Trump's idea was this unconditional ceasefire. Before any negotiations, that's traditional, that's logical. He spoke about that during the election campaign. He continued speaking about that during the first 100 days in the office. And he never asks Putin about that because he does not want to disappoint his loved one. And that is just very, very disgusting. One of the main things that might have remained unnoticed is that all this global media, American media, Ukrainian media, European media paid so much attention to the future call. Trump perhaps was preparing, putting on more of his it's not sunscreen, it's artificial tan, or I don't know what's that. So he was working hard, he was preparing, and Putin decided to speak to him not in the Kremlin, not in one of his bunkers, totally dedicated to the conversation. No, he did that in Sochi. And after that conversation, he went to speak with children at school, talking about music or something like that. No press conference, no serious comments. That is a move to demonstrate to the world, to demonstrate to China, to demonstrate to the European Union that this conversation with Trump is nothing for him, that Russia does not have any problems. Russia does not want any contact with the White House. And it is Trump who is prepared to do anything, literally anything, whatever your fantasy allows you to imagine, literally anything to meet with Putin. And not because he wants to talk about Ukraine, because he wants to start business with Russia, because he wants to earn money. And no, it's not for the American people. Relax. Russia does not have anything serious to offer to the American people. It cannot give you access to any real wealth, jobs, business perspectives, because in Russia they always steal businesses, especially of the foreigners. It is just about the wealth for a couple of people, not even including Musk, because Musk kind of disappeared. Like it if you support Ukraine and all the brave people who still stand for freedom and democracy, and please subscribe, that's important. That is your vote for freedom, security, and justice, which is still very important. And share the videos if you share my opinion. So Trump had these ideas which he talked about: unconditional ceasefire, second, sanctions that can be imposed on Russia, new sanctions, if there is no ceasefire. After the next conversation, we don't have dates of the ceasefire, we will not have sanctions, because all that the modern White House is prepared to offer to Russia: benefits, economic preferences for killing Ukrainians, threatening the European Union, and potentially destroying the world with their military ambitions. For the union with China, all that Trump is prepared to do: give economic preferences to Russia. If I do have some people who still believe that is a great plan that ordinary minds cannot comprehend, do explain that to me in the comments. I consider myself a smart person. I will read, and if there is any rationale behind that, trust me, I will believe you. But oh my God, right now we observe how an experienced FSB KGB agent is playing with a toddler. And that is disgusting, because Putin does not need to do anything. Trump does everything. If I have some girls or some boys who are now at the start of their relationships, don't act like Trump. If someone is that bad, not attentive to you as Putin to Trump, drop it. These are toxic relations that cannot bring you anything good. Have some self-respect. Do not act like Donald Trump. Do not let your desired partner act like that towards you. Remember to like. So, what Trump offers Russia, these economic preferences, is something that Russia had before the start of their war with Ukraine. The problem is Putin has a totally different vision of the world. He's not interested in new jobs. He creates them in these meat grinders on the front lines. He does not care about some social security or something like that. He wants to restore empire and to stay the emperor of the Russian of Russia forever. That's his plan, and he needs wars. After Ukraine war, as you name it, there will be other wars. Trust me, that's the plan. That's so obvious. Once again, before the full-scale war in Ukraine, I also thought that's irrational. They don't have resources. They don't have resources, but they are prepared to fight, loot, rape. That is the way they live in Russia. That's the lifestyle, by the way. Please understand that. So Russia is not competitive on a normal market. Russia is not interesting. Russia is not competitive. They cannot compete with Italy. They cannot compete with Germany. I am sorry, but in most cases, they cannot compete with Ukraine, even when they destroy us during war. So they are not interested in a market, economic cooperation, business, and other stuff. And, Right now, all of this communication is Trump trying to blame Ukraine, that Ukraine defends itself too effectively. Trump trying to blame Europe, that Europe wants to preserve the traditional world order and still protect democracy and speak openly about war crimes. And he desperately wants this immersion into Putin's world. He wants to be the Putin of the United States, but it's not just about work. It's not just about this model of politics. It's something very personal. Oh my God. And it's really bad that the president of the United States, the country that is still a symbol of democracy, of freedom, of everything modern, everything innovative, right now is controlled by a person that speaks with the bloodiest war criminal of the 21st century. And after that telephone conversation, he says, Putin said that he respects Melania a lot, and I had to ask him if he respects me the same way. And also he congratulated me with a grandchild. A normal person does not want Putin to pronounce the name of his family members. That is simply disgusting and cannot have any explanation. And most importantly, he does not have any self-respect when we talk about Putin, because it was Trump's idea, unconditional ceasefire, and it was Trump's idea, impose sanctions and show something. Right now, Putin leads. Putin outplayed Trump. Trump does not have any cards. And from the very beginning, it was Kremlin's vision that they pretend they have this negotiations process so that Trump never imposes any sanctions, actually lifts the sanctions, speaks about businesses so that his family can get richer. They continue killing Ukrainians, and everything looks just like this new normal. And this is very dangerous, not just for Ukraine. This is very dangerous for the United States, because plan of Moscow and Beijing is to destroy our old, good, democratic world. And sometimes I do have this feeling that only Ukrainians care about that. I was happy to learn that the European Union imposed sanctions on the Shadow Fleet. Close to 200 Russian tankers will have more problems, and also third countries that buy oil via that Shadow Fleet, but I think it's not enough. Let's be realistic. China is 100% in this war, and here we have Ukraine and lots of countries that doubt. Even if, some Polish presidential candidates say they want Ukraine as a buffering zone, that is a very wrong choice, because if Ukraine falls, I am not sure many other countries will withstand that. Will Putin continue? 1000% he will. 1000% he will. With millions of soldiers, with improved military infrastructure, with knowledge and skills you don't have if you don't have Ukraine, but you have Ukraine. So keep supporting us. We are not a burden. We are an asset in this crazy world. It was not our choice to participate in this war, but our choice is to win this war. We can do it. For example, check my latest video about Ukrainian drones that do some magnificent tasks, and right now we already have drones, interceptors of drones. Also remember to subscribe to my new channel, Anna Danilchuk, where I share weekly videos about what is life in times of the big war, and for example speak about Ukrainian minerals if you want to know more. Follow me on X, on Instagram, on Threads, on Blue Sky, and also we have an amazing Discord community. Please check the merch shop for lots of good items that work well as reminders and conversation starters about Ukraine. Thank you so much for buying me coffee, becoming my patrons, and helping me film and write more. That is an honor to have you in my life, and I value that very much. And most importantly, thank you for standing with Ukraine. Slava Ukraini!